Hello guys, Nomad Media here with a hopefully better tutorial than my last one. I'm probably going to unlist it and recreate it in a future date. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is creating our first web page with HTML. Now, you can use our IDE of choice, but personally I found it better when I was learning to use the IDE that the YouTuber or person I was watching used. So I am using VS Code today, and we're just going to be using HTML for the webpage. We aren't going to be making it responsive or anything. We're probably just going to make it to where we could navigate through it, and there's examples of different media and just general web design principles. So we should start off by creating a new HTML file. Now, the standard naming practice with web development, or like your homepage or the page that is opened up when you open up the web page, is usually called index.html. Now, just create it like that, and now you have to make sure that you include .html at the very end of the file name. If you don't, it won't be considered a HTML file, and it won't be interpreted that way by the browser. Now, what we need to do is make all the boilerplate code. Now, VS Code already has a code snippet that's already set up, so we don't have to input all of the boilerplate code or the code that we need to put in to set up the web page before we start adding content. So to use that snippet, we do shift 1, which is the exclamation point, and we just press tab when that pops up right there. Now, here is all the boilerplate code. Now, this right here, the doc type HTML, is how the browser interprets. Is another way for the browser to interpret the file type. Now, the HTML lang equals en. That's and telling the browser that you should interpret it in the English language, or all the content. Now, this is the metadata, which is basically data that describes the web page. Now, the title is something that you see up in the tab. Like right here, we see how index.html is popping up. That is the title of the file. So to change that in the web browser, we would want to change the title right here. Now, I'm going to change it to my first website. Now, that changes the title of the web, like the text that appears in the tab, to my first website. Now, to start adding content, it's really, really simple. All we need to do is we can do that, and it adds it in as content. So to view this content, we need to open it up. Now, through VS Code, you can install extensions as long as you're connected to the internet, of course, and you can install a live server plugin that enables you to locally host a web server, which allows us to view the content. Without that, we really couldn't, but you could also at the same time. It's easier to do this because it automatically, when you save it, it refreshes it. When you save the file, you press Control S, it refreshes the browser, it it refreshes the tab that the web page is opened in. So to enable the live server, you install it through the extensions, and you right click on your file in your file explorer, or you right click on index.html in your file explorer, and you go open with live server. Now you can see that right here, the text that we inputted right here is is implemented right here. It's being all the content that we put in the index.html file is put into the web page, the browser, the tab, the website that we're making, It's really cool. Sorry if I don't explain it that well. I'm just really really bad at explaining things. Now you don't want to do this, because if we go to another line and we do the same thing, save it, and we go and look at the webpage, it is all in one line like that. Now, to prevent that from happening, we could either use a break line tag, which breaks a line. It separates the lines into two separate things. Or we could use a paragraph tag or a P tag, which provides a better structure. In my opinion, it helps provide a better structure for like when you edit the web page and everything, but it also makes it a little bit more visually appealing. Like if you had text that was kind of overhanging the web page, or like a box that you wanted to have the text inside of, like if the box ended off right here and you wanted to create a new line, you could just have a break line tag right here, like this, and it breaks it into these two things right here. It's pretty nice. It's nice. So to add in a title, or like the first thing you want the first thing you want the people to see when you open up your webpage is usually your title or nav bar. That's you want that at the top. That's the first thing you want the viewers to read, aside from your link. Now, sorry for coughing. I got still kind of sick. The H1 tag is just the as the IntelliSense says, it says that it represents a section heading, and the section headings are scaled from 1 being the biggest to 6 being the smallest. Now, we could just type random stuff right here. The H1 tag is the biggest, so it's going to be on top. So H2 is going to be the second biggest. H3 is going to be the third biggest, and so on and so forth. And in just a second here, we will see what these things do. We will see visually what they do, and they act the same way as a paragraph tag or a break line tag, as they create a new line for when you end it off with the ending tag right here. Now save that and go into your browser, and we can see that H1, or the text that we implemented in the H1 tag, is the biggest, and the H2 tag being second biggest, the H3 tag being the third biggest, so on and so forth. And H6 being really small, just like the amount of money that I have in my bank account right now. I actually don't have any, In fact, I don't even have a bank account. So let's go. Uh, Now, to actually start filling out the content for the website, we would want to create the title. So let's just call this my first title. Now the H, and we're putting an H1 tag because we want it big, we want it bold. Well, if we really want it bold, we could use the strong. Now, what strong does is basically it bolds the text, but bolding it, you usually use the bold tag or the B tag, I think it is, to just bold things or like try to make it somewhat semi-important. But with the strong tag, that is something that you want to be emphasized. So the strong tag acts the same way as a bold tag, but it makes it to where when you're editing the website, it makes it easier to pick out the text that's important. So we have my first title inside of one strong tag and one H1 tag, and this is going to be the title of our of the webpage. It's going to be the first thing that the viewers see. Now, we will now make the Nav section. Now, the Nav section usually consists of links to other pages for the website or tags for sections of the web page. What we're going to be doing right now is just having just a very simple, very simple, like, we won't even be linking things. It's just going to be example for now. Now, usually, with standard web design principles, practices, you would want, like, a logo to link back to the index.html page or the home page. But for now, we're just going to have the list items be the things that we will see. Now we have home. Second thing that we would want is probably an what I want to learn. Now the titles of the web pages that you want to implement, they don't have to be as descriptive. You'd actually want to keep them within 3 words. So this, like right here, don't do this. Just like have something else that's shorter. Now let's have a third element, or like a third link to a web page, and let's have it as a about section, just saying who you are, who the organization is that you're working for. Now the fourth one that I'm going to put in is a contact page. Now the contact page is where you are going to really have, if you're filling out a portfolio page for like a job application or just to show off your skills, the contact page would usually have a email form to where they can just send an email from the website to your personal or business email, or a phone number, a business phone number. Now that's usually what the contact page would have in it. Like, that's what I would have in the contact page. That's what I have in my portfolio website. Now, I will in the future link it inside of the description, or just link it in the description of my YouTube channel. But for now, I don't have it being hosted anywhere yet. Now, this is going to be the navigation section right here. We don't have it. We don't have links to everything yet, but we will in a later tutorial. But for now, this is just going to fill out the basic content. Now, the UL tag is an unordered list. it basically creates a list that is bullet pointed. Now, list li is list item. So each element that you want in each element that you want in its own bullet pointed text needs to be in a list item or a li tag. Now, save that and go into your browser, and you can see that in the browser, let me zoom in a little bit right here. We can see that our title right here and our nav right here. Navigation bar or section. Now, when you have a link, when you have links and everything, it will be like it'll be blue or purple and have like a little underline underneath of it. So let's do that real quick, actually, just to make it look somewhat good. So to underline text, you want to use the U tag, and the U tag creates a underline underneath of the word. So save that, go back, and you can see that home has a underline underneath of it because we put in the U tag. Now, what we could do is use a little bit of an attribute. You don't have to do this. This is just showing off what you can do just inside of the HTML file. You don't without proper CSS, like an external CSS source. Now you could do color, and we could do, what about blue? And then that'll change the text to blue, or at least it should. Style, color, blue. Now, to actually style the text blue, you need it inside of a style attribute tag thingy. Okay. That's weird. Okay, the bullet point shouldn't be. That's weird. Alright. Well, that's just an example of what you can do with the style tag, or just like what you can do in the future tutorials that I'm gonna be making. Now, let's add in like a little bit of a paragraph about, I don't know, let's say why we like pizza. Pizza is amazing because it produces the happy chemicals in the head, the brain. Pizza is amazing because it produces the happy chemicals in the brain. Now, that is some content. It doesn't need to be this. It could be something else, of course. We're not trying to make Facebook right now, so it's just any content, really. That's all that matters right now. Pizza is amazing because it produces the happy chemicals in the brain. Now, the reason why you see it in this layout like this, how all the elements follow each other like this, is because they're all divided in their own sections, because they're all divided in their own sections because of the tags that they're using. The H1 tag and everything else like this is they all inherently break line at the very end of their content. So yeah, that pretty much sums up why everything looks like that. If we want to do like an image, we want to use the image tag, and inside of the image tag, we need to have a attribute called source. Okay, so we have a image that we pasted in that we really I didn't paste it in, but yeah, just drag and drop a image into the folder, or you could drag and drop into the folder that you open up by like double clicking on a folder on like your desktop or whatever, or the file explorer right here. But it doesn't matter how you get the image in, really. It matters how you include it. You want to use an image tag, and inside of the image tag you have a source attribute which grabs the image that you want to display and uploads it to the website, or the website just grabs it from your computer and uses it. So I'm using guide.png. It's just a screenshot from from a Terraria playthrough, but since we have it linked like that, it should be uploaded to the website. Yep, it is. Okay, so my first title, home and everything, and we can see that the image is uploaded and it's being used in the website. This is absolutely amazing. We are now introduced to the fundamentals, or just the very, very basics of building a web page. Now, you guys can go out now and build a web page from the 90s. This is, if we really wanted to, we could change the background to, let's say, purple. Nope, that is not how we want to do that. We want to go to style, background color, purple. Now it is truly a web page from the 1990s. Absolutely headache inducing. The images and the text contrast absolutely poorly, and it just, in the text, if it's really small, it's really hard to read. Let's just give an example by changing the H1 heading to an H6. Oh, nope, that's not really a good example, but yeah, you get the point. We can now, with what we've learned today, create a really, really bad, really crappy web page. See, this is really bad because it doesn't grab the viewer's attention. It grabs the viewer's attention because they want to exit out of it as soon as possible because of how horrible it looks. Now, if we want to actually create a decent looking web page, I will probably have some tutorials coming up over the next couple of months to show you how to make a decent looking web page that isn't the best. It's nothing like a multi-million-dollar business's webpage, but it's going to show you the principles, like the fundamentals of how to make a web page, and it'll show you some better practices to use, and just to introduce you to building web pages. And I do have to say that don't use my tutorials as gospel. Use other people's tutorials too, because what I try to provide what others are lacking, and what I'm lacking, others definitely provide. Don't just use one source for your education, use multiple. and don't stop learning. Even if you have secured a job, you're making $100,000 per year, you're really happy with that, there's always room for learning. Don't stop trying to learn. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you later. I'll teach you later. Just have a good day. Thank you for watching.